Why don't you go draw something? Draw a cube in perspective.
Do you guys remember that game, Draw Something? You played it on your phone?
Yeah, with friends.
That was I was pretty addicted to that.
I was the best. The only time I would ever lose is when it was Asterix, which is like some fucking cartoon character in Deutschland or something. And it's just like, it's not a real word. So how could you guess something that's a made-up word? You could never guess that. Anyway,
you ever play that game? I don't know what it's called because it's just like it's not like a thing you buy at Toys R Us, but it's like a game where it's like a party game where everyone writes a phrase and then you pass the stack of papers and then you look at the phrase and then you draw
crossword
the phrase.
STDs.
I've heard of that.
And then you pass that and it's like a telephone game that comes back around to you. So you write Ghostbusters on the top sheet and then you hand it off and you get like pudding pops or whatever and you
write pudding pops.
You try to draw pudding pops because that's what you're reading. You got it wrong. And
if you're past pudding pops.
Anyways, it comes back around and you're like, well, I wrote Ghostbusters and then this is how Amanda drew Ghostbusters, and because that's what she drew, this is what the next person wrote, and it's really fun.
Oh, I have not played, but I
Are there other movies besides Ghostbusters that you can write down?
Yeah.
Pudding pops.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Ghostbusters our friend KK was so drunk that we were like, there's always one drunk person in the game that like either ruins it or makes it like worth playing, depending on how you look at it. But like my friend Dino just wrote Ghostbusters. He's like, it's a movie with a logo. Even if you draw it badly, then the next person will. And then it went through KK, and it was like, it came out as like this, like there were guys like pointing things at a giant peanut and it was crying, and it's just such a great game because then the next person is like a giant peanut, and then you're like, you have to it's so fun.
We should make a phone version of it.
Or we should have a society that effectively reproduces the effects, so that by the 21st century we're almost dead. Let's talk about politics a little bit. What do you're a millennial. What are you, hopeful, or are you like stocking canned goods?
Actually, so one of the writers in our room, she was telling us how she and her husband had just bought gas masks and was like convincing everyone to go buy a gas mask. So I was like, okay. So I went to Amazon and they were like $80, which was like a little more than I felt like. Like if it had been like 45 or 50, I probably would have bought it.
What if, like, say, a friend of yours had an extra gas mask and you wanted to try it out?
Oh God.
Well,
would you be like, cheapy peepy if you...
You know what it made me realize? That I didn't want to spend... If I wasn't willing to spend $80 on a gas mask, I was like, I think if I need a gas mask, I'd like to be dead. I was like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
If we have to run around in gas masks, I hope I go out. And I don't want to have a bunker.
You're going to breathe it in. You're going to be like...
I just want to breathe it and then I'll go.
My only thought that's how I feel about a nuclear strike. Like, I'm not going to get in the car and head for Prim, Nevada, so that I can have half a face for 10 years. I'm going to like run to the impact point and try to catch the missile in my teeth because I want to like die in a flash. But gas mask, I don't know. I don't want, because the way you die by things that kill you by inhaling them make you suffer.
Yeah.
I might buy a gas mask so I can make it to my gun.
I don't have a gun. I don't know. I was like, I don't have enough stuff. Like,
I bought a gun when Trump got elected.
Did you? I just feel like that is
part of the problem.
No, it's not part of the problem.
White fragility.
It is. It is.
I've realized it all now, but I still got the gun.
What did you think you would need the gun for? Like, what made you like? What did you think would happen
to
now?
shoot his dogs weirdly.
No, well, there's that. I mean,
he's always talking about shooting his dogs these days.
Really?
All the time. Really? Don't put a nickel in him.
Really?
Every day he's like, I gotta shoot
all
these
the
dogs.
Things you could shoot. You're gonna shoot your 2 dogs.
Well, I don't want to derail this, but like at the end of the world, if I'm about to kill myself, I don't want my dogs to. Well, I guess they could eat me. I guess I could leave them to eat me, and they'd have a couple days of ground chuck to have fun with. But like I was just thinking, like I'll just kill everybody that loves me.
That needed context. The killing
but no, it's not for suicide. It was for the gun was definitely overall the most accurate description of it, which is my new favorite phrase because they're just like, holy shit, what a wake up of like white fragility. It was like, I have never had this level of experience, unlike basically all women, all people of color, all people of any identifiable demographic as vanilla man. While I thought I was an underdog and I thought I was badass. I thought I was punk rock. I thought I was an anarchist, as in let's bring the anarchy. And then like I saw my girlfriend crying after an election, and I was like, I can't stop crying, and then
that's
her
why
tears,
you bought the
her
gun?
tears didn't stop.
Yeah, he was like, "Stop crying,"
and I was like, and then the waitress came over and she had been crying, and then the women were hugging, and I was like, and then I'm like talking to the other guys and going like, but then
I
most of all,
my dogs. I gotta go home right now. It was like shoot. I
was so convinced. Now we've come back to. I'm convinced of it again. Like I'm back to like thinking we're entering the
again.
But in the days after the election, I was like, this is happening fast, and by this I mean unidentifiable total destabilization. Like how hard is it going to be for a guy that can the first guy to go out of business in Las Vegas owning a casino. Like how hard is it going to be for this guy with an already unstable global economy to just like provoke a polarity shift that just crumbles everything. I didn't even think at the time of like, these racists are going to start Clockwork Oranging, and then everyone's going to like get mad. And now what I'm scared of is that the Mueller report is going to come out, and it's like, we already know, like he's a criminal, and now we have a constitutional crisis, and then it's going to be, I'm genuinely like, just a fan theory, civil war is going to because like there's going to be street to street fighting, people going like, and so, but the reason I bought the gun is because I'm like, it's a power tool that I don't have that. Like a flashlight is for an earthquake, and a drill is for making a bird feeder, and I don't have one of those things that knocks the people down that saw your Sparklets bottles. If I didn't have a girlfriend, I don't know because I'd be like, well, what am I, Tex Avery? I'm gonna like enjoy protecting my empty gun with its last 11 bullets.
You're gonna draw a droopy dog.
It's a home invasion, white fragility, like fear of impotence, like the worst death in the world would be not being able to protect my loved ones. Yeah. Like that's, and then it's like there's this product, and it's like I'm exactly the part of the problem. That's why everyone has a gun.
Yeah, I mean, I remember right after the election, and I was talking to my dad, like I was sobbing, and I was talking to my dad, or I think it was a couple days later, I was probably still sobbing, and I asked how my grandmother was, my 85-year-old grandmother, and he was like, she seems fine. And I was like, oh yeah, like she used to, like they used to just, like black people walk down the street and then you just never saw them again. And so part of it was like when I talked to her, and she was like, yeah, no, I hate him. This is terrible. Also, she's like old. So I think also at that point you're like, I don't know, whatever.
She's like, ice on a porch could be my Donald Trump.
Exactly. But I did think about that. I was like, it's been worse. So like there's that. But I've also had to like, I don't know, like I've had to really narrow the shit that I can like really, really care about, because I feel like all this other stuff takes so much energy just to like absorb it and want it, and like I don't want to ignore it. And so I've had to be like, there's like 5 things I can care about in a real way, and then I have to like pay attention to all this other shit because it feels necessary to pay attention, because there's so much. And even now I'm like, there's shit that I don't like, names that I see and I don't really I know that it's like a bad thing or there's a scandal, but I don't really know what it is. So as a millennial, I feel I weirdly actually feel okay going into the midterms. I feel very like just okay though, like not on either side of it, just like really solidly okay. Yeah. And I think it's just because like I have to feel okay, otherwise like it's just
because the alternative is going like because I went through that phase where I was like, these guys are all acting like there aren't going to be free and fair elections in 2018.
They still kind of are.
But now it's. I'm not arguing.
No, I'm not saying that
I'm still willing to believe in the worst nightmare.
Sure, yeah.
But now there's this other theory because the behavior's become so incredibly like clownish that I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're just dumb. Like I know they were always dumb, but like not dumb and knew something that I didn't. Like maybe they're just idiots.
I think most of the people who knew stuff seem like they're kind of gone. Like it feels like mostly idiots left.
Yeah. And it's like the people that knew stuff were like, oh, this shit we knew, the jig is up. We can't leave a paper trail. Like, and he's just like, you're fired. Yeah. And it's like, those are all the people that were like, either just want to say I think this might be illegal later, or the people that were like, we should do this illegal thing. Like both categories of people. That's a really interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Like he's just. But is that like it's just this absurd thing about like he's just like you're fired guy, and now he's just you're firing. It's like could you become Caesar that way? Could you just fire every Roman senator and then fire the executive branch and fire the? Oh wait, no, that's me. Okay, I'll promote the executive branch. I'm going to fire this. Fire the Constitution. Like, is he just going to fire?
That. I'm sure I bet you he thinks he can like fire a Supreme Court judge.
Firing is the only thing he's ever done that my dad would call running a business. Like my dad, who's like an actual businessman. Like I bet that's the only thing he's ever done that was like. I bet he's never filed taxes or like cashed a check or like balanced a ledger or like looked at a pie chart. Like, but he's just fired people. He's just like, he thinks it's just like. Anyways,
I think if after the midterms, I feel like talk to me again after that.
Yeah.
Because if I still feel this shitty like next January, then it's like, and assuming maybe we flipped things, then it's like, oh, we're super fucked. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But you'll have made a lot of pasta by then.
I've made a lot of pasta by then. I will.
That's got to be. You think that's a thing that's like a phenomenon in America? Is like people have these Trump hobbies. They're like, fucking, if it's going to be 4 years, I might as well take up bonsai tree farming or like something.
No, I think, and people gained a lot of weight apparently after the election. They were just like, I stayed home for weeks, just like ordering.
I put on a lot of weight, and then in 2018, and I was like, I got to start working out, and also buying. I think absolutely, like everybody, like
that's why I started.
We're all gonna. There's gonna be like some equivalent of the baby boom, but instead of just being a population explosion, it's gonna be like a weird hobby explosion. Like how come there's so many more stamp collectors that are aged 40 in 2030? Well, because it traces back to this panic people had that they were missing out on the smaller things in life.
Right. All these CrossFit gyms, like every day I see in one of those. That's probably the response.
Yeah, I mean, there seems, I don't know. The people I know that go to gyms say that the drop off that happens at the beginning of the year hasn't really happened so far, which is interesting. I don't know.